Hi everyone. Today I am going to discuss about the medical surgical nursing 2 for the GNM second years. So it is unit 9, the nursing management of patient with the musculoskeletal disorders. So in this we are going to discuss about the degenerative conditions, and in this there is a spinal disc herniation. So spinal disc herniation today topic. So spinal disc herniation means there is a slipped disc. So spinal disc herniation also called as slipped disc. So why it is become slipped disc means it is a protrusion of the nucleus pulposus of the disc. So the nucleus pulposus means it is a jelly like substance and which is present in the inside of the vertebrae. So it is the nucleus pulposus, it is a jelly like substance and it helps in the flexibility of the spine and it provides the lubrications to the vertebrae. So there is a protrusion of the nucleus pulposus. So there is a bulging or otherwise it can be comes from the normal position to from out. So there is a nucleus pulposus, it can be comes from the normal positions to out. So there is a protrusion, there is a bulging also can be occur and it can be comes out from the normal position, and there is a nucleus pulposus of the disc into the annulus. So annulus means there is a fibrous ring around the disc. So it is a thin layer, it is a fibrous ring and it can be situated around the disc. So around the disc and it can be located, it is a fibrous ring, it is a become thin layer and it is called as annulus. So from the nucleus pulposus there is a, it can be enter into the annulus. So it can be comes from annulus, it is a become thin layer of the disc and it can be comes from out of the annulus and with a subsequent nerve compression. So subsequent nerve compression. So because of this bulging or it is a substance coming from out and it causes the more pressure on the nerves. So it is the spinal nerves. So because of this pulposus and there is a pressure over the nerves. So it is about the spinal disc herniation. So spinal disc herniation in the normal spinal, in the normal vertebrae it is become like this. In the normal vertebrae it is become like this. So in this herniation it can be comes out from the normal position. So it is called as herniation. Otherwise it is also known as slipped disc. So because of this herniation there is a causes the more pressure over the nerves. So the nerves can be compressed by the this pulposus. So it is called as spinal disc herniation. So spinal disc herniation it is also known as slipped disc and there is a protrusion of the nucleus pulposus of the disc. So nucleus pulposus protrusion can be occur in the disc and into the annulus. So annulus means there is a fibrous ring and it can be covers the around the disc. So and because of this herniation there is a more pressure over the nerves. So it is called as spinal disc herniation. So next one is the causes for the spinal disc herniation. So the causes includes the falls. So because of falling also there is a herniation can be occur in the disc, and lifting heavy objects. So while lifting the heavy objects also it is also causes the herniation of the disc, and there is a motor vehicle accidents. So because of the injury or any accident there is also caused the spinal disc herniation, and because of obesity. So because of the overweight of the patient there is a more pressure over the spinal cord. So because of obesity also causes the spinal disc herniation, and there is a twisting and repetitive motions in occupational setting. So during the working time there is a continuous movement or continuous working. Because of this also there is a causes the spinal disc herniation, and there is a twisting of the muscles can be occur during the occupational setting. So it is also one of the cause for the spinal disc herniation. And next one is prolonged pressure on nerve roots. So there is a continuous pressure because of this pressure, and it is also pressure over the nerves. So because of this pressure over the nerves, and it compress the spinal cord, and it is also cause the spinal disc herniation. So next one is pathophysiology. So the causes includes falls and lifting heavy objects, motor vehicle accidents, obesity, and twisting and repetitive motions in occupational setting, and prolonged pressure over the nerve root. And next one is pathophysiology. It includes the disc between two vertebrae herniates. So the disc can be located between the two vertebrae. So between the two vertebrae the disc become herniated. So it can be from the fluid, the jelly like substance can be come from the normal position. So come from normal position, and it leads to the moves out of its normal anatomical position. So because of herniation, so the disc the fluid can be moves out of its normal anatomical position. So from the normal anatomical position the disc can be changed. So the disc between two vertebrae herniates, and it leads to the moves out of its normal anatomical position. So because of the herniation the disc can be moved from the normal anatomical position, and it leads to the annulus fibrous teres. So the annulus means it is a fibrous ring, it can be around the disc. So there is a tear can be occur in the annulus. So tear can be occur, damage can be occur in the annulus. So the layer can be damaged or the tear. So because of this it leads to the tear in the disc ring and may result in the inflammatory chemical mediators, and there is a which may cause severe pain. So because of this tearing of the annulus, the disc ring may be because of the tearing, and it can be caused the inflammatory chemicals can be released. So because of the tearing of the annulus the chemical mediators can be released. So because of these chemical mediators they cause it cause the severe pain in the back. So it leads to this allows escape of the nucleus pulposus. So because of this inflammatory chemical reactions, and there is a tearing of the disc, and because of the tearing of the annulus, and it causes the escape of the nucleus pulposus. So the layer become damaged, and because of this annulus tear, and the nucleus pulposus can be enter into the annulus. So it leads to the displacement of the disc compresses one or more nerve roots. So because of this nucleus pulposus coming out, and it causes the displacement of disc compress one or more nerve roots. So there is a compression of the disc over the nerves. So because of this herniation there is a compression can be occur one or more nerve roots, and it causes the spinal cord compression. So because of this nucleus pulposus, and it is more pressure on the nerve roots, and it causes the spinal cord compression. So it is about the pathophysiology. Next one is clinical manifestation. So in the clinical manifestation there is a local pain at the level of spine affected. So where the spine is become affected, so that in that area the patient will have the severe pain, and there is a sensory changes. So the sensation can be decreased in the lower legs. And next one is muscle weakness. So there is a muscle weakness can be present, and according to the cervical disc herniation. So where the herniation can be present, according to that there is a clinical manifestation can be present. So if the disc herniation is present at the cervical region, the clinical manifestations includes the pain in the cervical region. So the pain in the cervical region means at the neck area. So clinical manifestations according to the where the herniation is present, and according to that the clinical manifestations includes the cervical disc herniation. So the spinal cord consists of cervical and the thoracic and the lumbar and the sacrum. So according to that where the herniation is present, and in that area the clinical manifestations includes the cervical disc herniation, pain, decreased range of motion. So there is a pain is become severe and there is a movement can be decreased at the neck area. So there is a movement can be decreased at the neck area, cervical region, that is, and the pain is become severe, and there is a arm pain. So because of this cervical region, and the pain is radiated to the arm pain. So radiated to the arm. So the pain is present at the arm, and weakness of upper extremities. So the both the hands become very weak. So upper extremities become weak, and next one is paresthesia. There is a tingling sensation or otherwise pricking sensation can be present in the upper extremities. So it is about the cervical disc herniation. So it is according to that there is a herniation can be present at the cervical region. The clinical manifestation includes the pain and decreased range of motion, arm pain, and weakness of upper extremity, and paresthesia in the upper extremity. And the next one is lumbar disc. So lumbar disc is includes the low back pain. So lumbar region means at the lower back pain the patient may feel, and there is a muscle spasm. So there is a involuntary contraction of the muscles can be occur in the lumbar region, and there is a decreased range of motion. So there is a decreased movement in the lumbar area, there is no flexibility, and there is a stiffness can be present in the lumbar region, and paresthesia. So there is a tingling sensation or pricking sensation can be present in the lower legs, and the pain is radiating from the back to the lower legs. So the pain is radiating from the lower back to the lower legs. So it is about the lumbar disc and the lumbar disc herniation. The clinical manifestations includes the low back pain, muscle spasm, decreased range of motion, and paresthesia, pain radiating from back to the lower legs. So it is about the spinal disc herniation.